Holidaymakers returning from 3 countries will now have to self-isolate for 14 days. Quarantine rules have been introduced in the UK for anyone returning from Croatia, Austria and Trinidad and Tobago. In Scotland, the measures also apply to arrivals from Switzerland. Many people on holiday in these countries, which have seen a spike in coronavirus cases, tried to change their flights at the last minute to beat the deadline. And as our correspondent Frankie McCamley reports now from Gatwick Airport, some travellers made the most of Portugal being taken off the quarantine list.
After weeks of uncertainty and changes to quarantine rules in popular tourist destinations, flying out of Gatwick Airport this evening, there's relief. These holidaymakers finally have somewhere to go: Portugal.
We originally were to go to Spain and then we rebooked for Croatia because obviously Spain went into lockdown.
And then Croatia got put on the quarantine list yesterday, and so we quickly switched it onto Portugal. And then we had to pay quite a lot extra.
Yeah. On Thursday night, actually was all happening really quickly, so the flights were booking up really fast and the villas were started off relatively low-level prices, and then by Thursday evening they'd skyrocketed by about £1,000 for a villa of 10.
The minute the quarantine was lifted, that was it. We booked that day.
We did. Within about 2 hours.
Wow. So, I mean, are you concerned that quarantine could come back into play at some point?
Well, I am, because I'm a teacher, so I'm supposed to be back at school in September, but we're just going to take a chance.
It's not business as usual here at Gatwick Airport. There's not the hustle and bustle and the huge queues you'd usually expect during August. But those who are here are optimistic. Despite the huge hike in prices in places, they're desperate to get away after months of lockdown. But for those who had already taken the chance and headed to towns in Croatia, as they return, they now face 14 days in quarantine.
After France and now Croatia, that no holiday can be guaranteed as being safe, and if you go outside the UK this summer or this year even, you can expect something like this to happen.
Most of the flights are on Saturday morning. If they'd given 48 hours, we'd all be back. But now we all have to quarantine for 2 weeks, so it's a pain.
Some haven't yet made it back from the country.
It shouldn't be 14 days. We should probably be stay at home 7 to 10 days and then get tested. And if we are not positive, let us back to work and kids to school. This way we feel like it's a punishment.
Despite packed beaches in Croatia, it's the spike in coronavirus cases that led to the restrictions there, as well as in Austria and Trinidad and Tobago. Many will now question, is this worth it? Or should they risk the British weather instead? Frankie McCamley, BBC News.